Yeah, we're back. Was earlier talking to someone. We're still on the talking about the town and the problems with the town and the problems with homelessness in the areas, in those different areas. I am one of those individuals that I'm willing to stop and talk to almost anyone when willing to get the people's opinion. And sometimes when you say the people, you'll have a lot of people imagining that I'm talking about the well-off people, the homeowners, the people that got real good jobs, making six figures a year or more. No, I'm talking about the people that's really in it. Those people that most people and a lot of people who are opinionated will say they not people. They going, because these people don't have what they have. But I talk to all kind of people. It happened to be a person, I kind of assumed that he might be on a different level because of the person I saw him with, who I know, also, I know indulges in different subjects. So I was slightly wrong. He was telling me about Humanities for Habitat program, and that he had built certain things in Sebranic Park, down 105th, as well as down the alley where they built a housing section. But anyway, we were having a topic. We were talking about different things. We were talking about how different areas. He believed that the area with the park, the fence being around the park, he believes that what was going on with that was he called it a failure to thrive. FTT, a failure to thrive. He said it was a failure to thrive. The park was not thriving, and that's his belief that why they closed it down. I question that, and still question it even after leaving the brother, that what kind of thriving do you want out of a park? Because I don't think too many of them do too much different. They barbecue, they gather around, people have little one-on-one sessions. Sometimes people have group meetings at parks. There's a lot of good that can come out of a park. But anyway, we were talking about some other topics, and he was talking about a topic. I heard it before, but he was kind of breaking it down for me. He's called it the sin of omission, right? The sin of omission, meaning, he said, like waking up in the morning, and the different things you do and stuff like that, the decisions we make, which can be a sin, even though yesterday was one thing, but tomorrow could be a whole flip from where you once was, a day prior. It's just wonderful, man, to talk to people. Some of you might want to think about talking to somebody you wouldn't normally talk to. It was interesting when I was working at this facility. The facility had a Bible study, and my boss was like leading the Bible study, and she said something. She put everybody that was in the Bible study on a weekly mission to do something for someone else without worrying about what they're going to do with what you give them or what you do for them. Like if you choose to give somebody who looks very broke down, very tore down, you make a decision, because she told us to do it. She said, if you got $5 for them or whatever, lose 5 in your pocket, even a lose 10, just give it to them and don't worry about what they're going to do with it. We seem to, interesting because we seem to say, oh, I'm going to be blessed, but if you going to give it to somebody, if you really want to let it go and you don't want to still hold on to it when you hand it to them, then you might just want to give it to them and quit trying to, you better buy some food. You better, I mean, come on now. You don't know what the survival level out here in this world and in the street is like. Many of you that may be opinionated. But, so it was just interesting, right? So then we had this other topic is, he called it moral impairment. He called it moral impairment. I was like, moral impairment? You know, yeah, he said like there can be, especially with the brothers and the sisters today, because the sisters, I'm not putting you sisters down, but it was something that I will also blame on ourselves, that y'all start following us. Y'all saw us being ignorant, and you see a lot of ignorance, not in all females or whatever, but, you know, true enough, there's a difference between a girl, a woman, and a lady. And I would say the lady is the highest of them all. So there's a lot of stuff that's not ladylike, you know. So anyway, I was going to talk about moral impairment. Moral impairment can be where you see you and 5 friends are kicking it. You might be indulging in a little alcohol, a little whatever. It don't have to be y'all getting full of drunk, but, you know, things get a little bit off, you know, the hook, off the Richter or whatever some would call. And an argument jumps off with 2 of the brothers out of the 5. And then you find yourself with these 2 of the brothers out of 5, they arguing. One of them calls the other one the B word, right? And then the other one is like, what? You can't call me that, especially can't call me that in front of the fellas. You feel me? So you find that what happens is, boom, one person with this new ignorance that's been going on for the last 20 plus, 30 plus years of killing and stuff, you find that one of the friends going to get a gun, you know, and then he goes and and the other fellas, you know, that's standing there, they stand back. You know, they like, that ain't got nothing to do with us, right? You know, so he gets all out of the way. But at the same time, nobody's saying anything. Nobody's saying things like, hey, man, we don't do that, man. You know what I'm saying? We love ones, man. We been tight, man. We got to keep this thing alive. No, nobody's saying nothing. They bagging up, you know. But so this kind of thing is what's called a moral imperative, being morally imperative, and you know, imperative, right? Just being like, you know, standing back, knowing you're supposed to do something, but yet you don't do anything, right? Knowing you're supposed to make the right move, you know, but you just as guilty no matter if you made the wrong move or you just didn't make a move at all. You didn't step up. You didn't step up. This is what's going on today with the community. You know, many communities and, you know, and as I see it, you know, me being African-American, black and everything, my community, there's some problems with that when we are not standing for something. We're not coming together. It's a lot of power in assembly, a lot of power. You know, one bird can fly miles and miles further with other birds than he ever could by themselves. You know what I mean? It's true enough, he can. And so, you know, this more imperative. The other problem when that guy dies, you know, of course, the guy that did the shooting is on his way to jail, so he's like on the run. He's hiding out and all this kind of stuff, and he's definitely not going to the funeral. But for the guys, for the other friends, right, the remaining friends, the 3 friends that's there, they go to the funeral and seem to do something that I look at as very bad and very ignorant. They do things like go to the funeral and be crying. Ooh, I miss JoJo. Oh man, that was my best friend. Oh, it's all this, right? But my problem is, brother, you didn't have to miss him unless he was going on vacation or something, or unless he moved to another state or something. You didn't have to miss him, man. You know, if you had done something about it. You know what I'm saying? This is being morally imperative. You know what I'm saying? You could have stepped up. That's what it's about, stepping up, man. You know what I'm saying? Black lives do matter, you know? But I'm not even all geared up and they thing. I'm talking about let's do a world thing. Let's not just have one little group that be downtown or be in somebody else's town. You know what I mean? And then the problem is when I look on the news, I barely see anybody black. You know, it might be 3 or 4 or 5. You know, that don't look right, right? So we got to get our act together, right? We're losing. You don't even think that one thing can affect the other. One thing always affects the other if you're not careful. One thing can send you to prison for the rest of your life. One thing can end your story overnight. One thing can just shut you down, right? And it ain't funny. No more giggling and laughing like something was funny. Ain't nothing ever been funny. Life is a serious game, right? It's a very serious game, you know what I mean? You know, and one day we're gonna all have to grow up. Even though I know, and many of you know, that there's still a little boy in most of us. There's still that little girl in most of us. And most people don't know about that little girl, that little boy, other than the person that we're living with, other than the relationship partner that we with. They know what time it is. They know when you at the house with them and you don't get your cookie, you act a goddamn fool, right? So, and we just putting this thing together. I am designing this thing, you know, so for this network, RTV is the name of it, and just look forward to it, right? Look forward to it. If you see me and you would like to participate in the growth of what I'm trying to do, I welcome you, man. I'm down with that togetherness. You know, I'm down with that as oneness and all that. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and there's a lot of power, like I said earlier, in assembly. That means that there's a lot of power when we come together, right? And there's a lot of losses when we stay apart, right? If you hit an object, like boom, you see my hand? You hit an object, boom, like that, guess what's going to happen for those of you bright people, right? Let me tell you what's going to happen. You're going to break all fingers if you hit an object with your hand open like that. But look, if you come back together and you take that hand and you make a fist, right? Whatever you hit, you're going to make an impact. You're going to have an impact on it, right? Because you came together, right? Assembly, you came together, right? Stay tuned for more. We're going to keep this moving, all right? Thank y'all. One love. The Oak Town with yours truly, the counselor.